Now we're going to look at radios. No, I don't mean the AM/FM radio that's probably sitting on your desk. It's a control. Let's take a deep look at it. Now, radios can get a little complex here, so we need to set up an initial value. And let's set up another one as well. So we have value 1, value 2, because as you guessed it, there is a radio and a radio list tile, similar to what we had in checkboxes. So let's go ahead and set this up. And let's say void, let's call this set value 1. Wow, double spelling mistake there. Triple. All right, 3 times the charm. All right, let's go ahead and set our state. Let's fat arrow this into value 1 equal value. And let's just copy and paste this. All right, now, rather than adding our controls here, we're going to actually make some functions that return some controls. This is one of the really cool features of Flutter. You can do some really cool things like this. Let's say widget, and we want to make radios. Probably help if I type that correctly. Maybe that wasn't as cool as I had hoped. All right, let's try that again. Widget, make radios. All right, we're going to make a list. And let's just call this list equal new list. So we're going to return a column, something we haven't really talked about yet, and unfortunately it's got to kind of be towards the end of this whole tutorial because we're going to discuss layouts. But a column is, well, you guessed it, just a layout object. And we're going to return our list. Inside of the column. So what we're actually doing is we are returning, you guessed it, a list of widgets inside of a widget. Let's look at our hot reload. We got nothing in there and no errors. That's the important thing here. So let's go ahead and let's flesh this out a little bit. And let's say for int I equals 0, I less than, let's say 3. Let's increment that. Now we want to add. We're going to say list.add. And this is where the interesting bit comes in. We're going to say new radio. And I love autocomplete. I almost said autocorrect, because it just puts everything I need right in there. I'm going to say value 1. Notice how we have a group value, and this actually should be I, because that's the individual value. The group value is the group of controls, and you'll see that in just a second here. And let's set this to set value 1. Hot reload. Now we have radios. So what we've really done here is we've made a list. We have 3 of them. And as we select one, the others are deselected. So think of this as a list of values that you can select. So the first value will be 0, 1, and 2. So that's the radio. We're going to make radio tiles, grab this, throw this in here. We've got pretty much the same setup, but what we want to do now is, you guessed it, we want to add radio list tile. Very similar to how this is set up. That's one thing I love about Flutter. Let's give it a value, give it the group value. In this case, it's going to be our value 2. In the on change, we want the set value 2. Let's hot reload that, and you can see the difference. Notice how they're offset. And you can see when I hold down how it grays it. That is because it's the tile, not just the individual control. You can hear me clicking and nothing's happening, whereas it actually grabs it way over here. So let's go ahead and fill in some values for this. Let's set the active color, and we'll say colors.green. And once again, if you have no idea what to type, just hit Control-Shift on your keyboard, and it gives you a list of things that it's looking for here. For example, we could say control-affinity.leading, which is what it's already in. We want the list tile control-affinity leading. We can change this to something different. Let's say trailing, just because, why not? And let's set the title. And we're going to make a new text. Remember, whenever you see new, it means you can put anything you want in there. And let's set the subtitle. Let's hot reload this. And everything works as expected. You can see we have the actual item number, and we've set the control affinity. Next, let's explore the switch widget. It's going to remind you a lot of the combo box. First thing we need to do, make some variables. Now that we've got those, let's go ahead and make our functions. We're just going to copy this. And change it around. All right, let's go ahead and remove this guy. Let's add a switch. Hot reloading didn't take place. Oh, there's the problem. There we go. Simple mistake. As you can see, switch just has an on and off. It's very similar to a checkbox. But along with the switch, we also have the switch list tile. Let's go ahead and break this out a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and add title here. And let's actually add a little style to this. And in our style, let's add the font weight. And we want this to be bold. And let's change the color. If that looks like gibberish to you, what you can really do is just kind of break this down a little bit. This is something I like to do just to make things a little easier to read. There. Now it may be a little easier for you to read. And you can also position your mouse over one of these brackets and you'll see exactly where it starts and stops. hot reload, and as you can see, there's switch 1 and there's switch 2. And because this is a tile, it does the entire row, not just one little section.